Namaskar. Welcome to Insight Tonight with Ashok Vyas. And I'm very, very excited and delighted that today we are touching that theme which concerns all of us and which is helpful for all of us. What is that? We all want to be active in a way which demonstrates our efficiency and helps us in bringing about the desired results. But how we equip ourselves and have that space of stillness within from where the creativity as well as coherence in our action is possible. And in that front, meditation definitely is a big help. What is meditation? How it is related to action? We'll learn about that from a couple who have practiced this for more than 4 decades, and we'll learn more about Ashok Wahi and Neelu Wahi. Let me have the pleasure of welcoming both of you.
Thank you very much, Ashokji, and it's nice to be with your viewers and listeners today.
And I will also go back in time, and it was maybe 2 decades ago or something that I talked to you, and I remember there were many books about yoga. So I found it even more interesting that now the whole world is talking about yoga, but this man already started publishing books on yoga, and there were books which would help someone to quit smoking with applied yoga, or there was a book which was helpful to sleep better, and now we also hear a lot about Nidra yoga and all that. So before I come to you, Ashok ji, I also want to quickly mention that he has invented and he has patents and he is philanthropist, but we will today focus more on the meditation side, and meditation starts together. If that happens, that is a big plus. So Neelu ji, talk to me about when you started practicing meditation, and when you do meditate together, how it is more efficient.
Absolutely. I think my meditation started when I had my children. You have to cope with so many different aspects of life. You have the children, you're a new mother, and you're learning everything, and you still have your work life, and then you have your married life. So with all the thing combined, I mean, you can go crazy. So in that aspect, you need to have something that gives you this special time where you can meditate and clear up all your tensions and stresses that are created on a daily basis. So I think Ashok and I, we both figured out that if we take out some time every day, or at least every other day, that we would be able to have a better relationship between us and also have a peaceful household, be able to take care of things. So I think that was my real beginning to start meditation.
So I think I cannot clap enough for this wise step internally also that both of you took. Having the word meditation in front of you is one thing, and having a way to apply it is another. So were you already familiar with how to do meditation, or both of you figured it out and discovered, Ashok ji?
It's a very inspiring question by itself, Ashok, and I'll have to go back to what you started the show with, that the stillness. We all of us carry our own stillness, and going back to the stillness is what it is. If you get connected with the stillness, then you have that aspect that you are with the anchor all the time. And I think I need to mention it here, that that aspect of stillness in me, which is also in Hindi, I understand you know it very well, the sthirta is the stillness that we talked about. And I was blessed with the stillness when my current faith, which is in Sandanakari mission, and I was introduced to that 60 plus years.
Oh, wow.
And that's the aspect of meditation, going back to the stillness and conscious awareness of stillness is very profound in getting a grasp of your life. It's very touchable. And that's the meditation I'm talking about, and that's what it is.
Beautiful. Conscious awareness is the word, that is the key word, and that is not easy, especially initially. So Neelu ji, when you mentioned about all that was happening, and we are going back in time.
Right.
Anyone you talk to, whether they are sitting for puja or meditation, they say, I get n number of thoughts, and many times you don't even know where you have gone, though you wanted to sit still, but there is plethora of thoughts radiating all over.
Right.
How was it for you initially?
It was chaotic. It definitely was chaotic. I mean, it takes, you cannot say that you can do it instantly. It takes time, and slowly. And Ashok was a big help in that, since he had that experience with, for me, Nirankari mission was through him. And I believed in the conscious awareness of yourself is what, when we went deeper into it, and he was able to guide me through that, what it really is. And as slowly, it starts seeping into your being, and you start feeling it. And I think that's what it is, and you have to persevere at it. I mean, it's not something that you say, okay, I do it today, 2 days rest, and then it'll come to me. No, you have to work at it. And then it just comes to you, like he's talking about the stillness. Absolutely, when you reach that stage, you absolutely feel peaceful. Nothing is bothering you, whatever the day's events took place, they just evaporate. So I think that really does help, having that kind of, and that kind of support really helped me, my journey through life with him, all these 40 years, with my children. And I think even with my friends, and my friendships have lasted, I think because I really did feel that stillness in me, so that I could cope with all the turbulations that come with any relationship. So I think
Absolutely.
It has been
So
a good
Neelu,
journey.
I must admire you. You're so articulate in expressing, and that tells me what we are discussing is relevant for each one of us. Because many times, some of us, I see even in Indian American families, some of us feel that meditation was some other type of people, and I'm a busy guy, I don't have time for meditation. But here you have busy guys, entrepreneur, inventor, talking to us about meditation. So it gives us the other side of the coin also. So we have a wholesome picture. As Neeluji mentioned, Ashokji, initially arriving at that sense of peace is difficult. So what is the technique or the tips that you may share with us, which would help anyone who maybe want to begin meditating after watching you on this show?
The very first step and the foremost step in getting started, as they call it, like onboarding, is a word very commonly being adapted by the population everywhere. Just for onboarding, you have to first realize the pause that occurs in your breathing. In pranayama, in just inhaling and exhaling, tells you that when you inhale, exhale doesn't follow instantaneously after that. There's a pause. You have to realize that pause and go back to that pause. And same thing after exhale, there's an identifiable pause after that. So pause is very important where it comes in your life. Go back to your pause. Chaotic life is a common situation with everyone else, as it was our heritage. But we were not meant to be chaotic. At the same time, we have to realize the pause, and realizing the pause at the right place. There's one thing I like to add, Ashokji, is as follows, that where the pause is very important. And it's a humorous side. You see how quickly the meaning changes on this, that the teacher said, the inspector is a fool. Then I gave the pause after said, the teacher said the inspector is a fool. So where you put the pause will tell you who in fact is being, sort of not put in the right faith. So where the pause is, inhaling, breathing is the only voluntary and involuntary aspect or act in our body. That's the only way. You have to inhale after a certain time, and you can stop it at the same time. So that answers the question that you said, that how did I start? Finding and identifying the pause in our life. And that's what I will say, that if you identify that pause, go back to the pause as if nothing else exists. and the whole thing is pause. Whole thing is carved out of the pause, and that's the stillness we began today with.
Whole thing is a pause, so I also gave a pause in my flow of thoughts, and I processed what Ashok Wahi was saying, and it is very profound. And in order for us to be able to appreciate anything profound, we need to be sincere to it, and also we need to apply it. So breathe in, breathe out has infinite ways of revealing something based on our specific nature. And Neelu, when we talk about certain situations in life, and you also referred to relation, harmony in relation, sometimes it is a matter of perception, how you perceive what someone said, whether man or woman, and what you interpret out of it, and how you are reacting. So that is the equation which results into whether you will have very turmoil sort of environment at home, or you will have harmony. So if you think and share with us any, maybe not getting into the specific, but how meditation helped you in looking at the same situation with a different light.
Right. No, you're very right, Ashok ji. It definitely makes an impact in your life. You know, what you are learning and how you're trying to curtail your emotions. And meditation definitely is a big, helper in that you are able to control your emotions. So every time daily, you meet colleagues at work, you go through, friendships, neighbors, and these different situations arise which can really make you upset. I mean, somebody knocked on the door unnecessarily, or something said to your children something, and all those things can sometimes disturb you. But if you have fall back, if you have these techniques of meditation, which teaches you, like he said, the pause. So you think twice before you say something, because once you utter, it's all gone. Right? It can just throw away the situation. So meditation in general is like a medicine, for yourself. I mean, not physically, but a spiritual medication that helps you realize that everybody is going through something at some point in their lives. So just take a pause and try to put yourself in that shoe, and that meditation part, calms you down, and then, you can deal with the situation in a better way. Instead of making it more aggravated and everybody gets angry and it becomes really out of reach for anybody. So I think to live a better life as a neighbor or even as a good worker, I think that really helps. And I think through my life, I think that has been a very good factor in making me understand other people and the situation. Of course, sometimes I do get crazy, but falling back on meditation and realizing that I have that tool with me at all times does make a big difference.
Absolutely, and this is a tool, as Prime Minister Modi on International Day of Yoga mentioned, that this is copyright free. So I mean, you don't have to pay a royalty to anybody. You are meditating by yourself.
Yeah.
Now, Ashok Wahi, you yourself said for 6 decades or so you have been practicing, so that gives away your age a little bit. But you look young. I think Neelu would agree with me on that. But let's look at how gradually practicing meditation helped you in getting deeper and feeling more that sense of joy through your meditation practice, which probably initially it was little less. It might have been a little dilute, and then gradually it became intense. So talk to me about your inner journey on that.
It's a very, very well put question. I must appreciate that. That what we do commonly is give ourselves the credit that we are the doers, and I did this, I attained this, and I did this, and I come so quickly. And I'll give you a very simple analogy. But if you give credit to the other who is actually doer, and Lord Krishna also says that identify the real doer, who is behind all this, and I have a couple of one analogy to share with the viewers here, that there's a word called facility, and everybody knows that how it's spelled. It's Facility, and everybody knows facilities, that this is a studio, it's a facility. There's an auditorium, it's a facility. There's a building in a lab, lab in a building, that's a facility. All those things are facility. And then there's a word called faculty, FACU. Everything else is the same except I changed to U, and you see how exemplified the virtue became. Same thing with indicted and inducted. When you change I, that's dissolving your ego. Ahem is the single biggest enemy that everyone has, which is pride, ghamand, ego. And if you find a way to deport it, find a reason to deport it, then you are a winner already, because you're not taking credit. We don't take things in the light that somebody else behind this is doing. Even our thoughts are being blessed by somebody which is divine in nature. And all I'm going to emphasize is on that. I'll sort of interject where Neelu was talking about that we find a way to get into this, find a way to enter the disagreements that are existing in the universe, somehow or the other. We specialize in that without being taught. And I'll give you an example. A few people are chatting or discussing something with each other, and one says something, and the third onlooker, he says, "You're right." And the other one says absolutely opposite matter in a different light, different scenario, different aspect. And the person who's the onlooking person, he says, "You're right too." And the third one who's watching the whole thing go with these three people, fourth one, he says that how could both be right? He said something, you said you are right, and he said opposite, you are right. The onlooker says, "You are right too." So why do you have to enter a conflict between two people or two situations? Many times they resolve themselves. Let them resolve themselves. That's one thing, our faith teaches us. You have somebody knock at the door, and we are all like living in a grust. We're living in a household. We have a job, we have a career, we have a endeavor that we're following. But a person who is able to focus on the inner consciousness, get connected with it, and then do the same thing, live that livelihood, live that responsibility, don't shun your responsibilities. That my faith taught me. How you remarkably put that I'm obviously 60 plus years old, because I've been
So I'll go to the conflicting side, Neeluji, and what Ashokji said. In certain situations, you would accept that, okay, if you don't do anything, it will get dissolved by itself, and why aggravate or have that conflict zone so near. But sometimes you feel that if you don't take a stand, then probably you are failing in discharging your duty the way you perceive it. And sometimes it is difficult to figure out which is the place that you should just let it grow on its own and dissolve, and which is the place where you should take an active stand, assert, and probably have that conflict zone because it is necessary. So, what would be your response to it?
Right. I agree. It is a conflict. Trying to figure out, where you should butt your nose in or just stay away. But I think the better thing is, again, when you are in the meditative mood or you've learned all these techniques, there's always a different approach to it. The first approach that comes is not always the right approach. At that time you build up anger, you build up, resistance, whatever it is. So giving that little bit of time and thinking about it, and you can approach that same thing and deal with the same person, but not attacking the person. And you can be more diplomatic about it, and then dissolve or dissipate that problem that was arising because you didn't participate. So you have to actively be a part and realize that in your mind, in your senses, that what your body is telling you is you cannot just be a part of society and not be actively involved. You have to be, but you have to see, weigh the situation where, if I go this much, maybe it's going to help dissolve the situation instead of going, beyond what sometimes that's what we do. We think we know all, the I kicks in, right? And then you think, oh, I can solve this, I am the one. But that's where the problems begins even more. So you have to see where up to how much you can go and still be able to be a part actively in that situation and help. That's, I think society needs that. You have to be involved. You cannot just stay aside. I think it's not right on our part to be as a social being, to be a part of the society, because sometimes, but then we have to realize, like I said, is how far can you go?
Absolutely.
You have to listen to the other side too.
Right.
Be communicative.
So meditation teaches you to have patience also, but at the same time, having patience doesn't mean becoming inactive. So Ashok Wahi has been active all his life, and I would repeat it because I find it very, very, I would say not just interesting but impressive, that when not the whole world was talking about yoga in such a big way, he published 3 books on applied yoga, and patience goes hand in hand when you aspire to have a sense of peace with yourself. Because if you are impatient, you have instant source of being restless. You want people to act in a certain way, and they want. So I'm reminded that if you want something to sprout and you have the seed there, but you keep on checking after 5 minutes
Right.
whether now it is there or it's never going to happen. So,
Right.
but that understanding, I think, becomes a part of your reflexes through meditation. So talk to me about what was the idea behind coming up with applied yoga technique, and that time when probably they were not as eagerly lapping up to the yoga books when you published them.
Right. When I got involved with yoga, it was started with Hatha Yoga. I was introduced to it because of a difficulty I got in my life at my employment, and I was so stressed all the time. And I did reach out to a psychotherapist, and he listened to my problems, and he says that you have to come back again. And I did not like it that nothing has been helped. I could have gone to some other place and got a different type of help, and as the luck would have it, and I say it's a divine intervention many times, and it is, that I came across a flyer from a store or our township that said that de-stress yourself with yoga. And I went, that was my first beginning to be introduced to yoga. And what I did was that I went to that class and I came back that I discovered something new. I always had my breath, but I didn't depend on it. That's what it is. Many of the scriptures refer to the same thing. And the other thing I will tell you is that patience is itself the best virtue we can acquire in our life. The reason for that is your knowledge, as we call it, Brahm Gyan, will give you a life, meaning of eternal life. That, people call it life after life, life after death in many ways. If you perceive this body is the one which is the ultimate, it's life after death. But according to our philosophy, it's life after life. You are in eternal life to begin with, and you connect with that life. So a gyan or knowledge of that, as it's referred in Srimad Bhagavad Gita also, that's my Virat Swarup, that's the knowledge Lord Krishna bestows upon Arjuna. At the same time, for living in this life, in the worldly life, we need to have patience. That's the best virtue. And pause, that pause that a patience gives you is very essential. You react to a situation, it's reaction. You let it pause, let it go, take a few breaths, and you act upon it, that's an action. Action is a proactive thing. inspiring thing, divine thing. Reaction is not necessarily that.
Beautifully put. Many times you want to process what is being said, and you actually find a sense of silence within, and I think that is where the real essence of what is said in terms of such words of wisdom becomes available for us to apply, to put into action. And Neeluji, the lifestyle also makes a difference in terms of how your mind would function, and in that context, what tips would you have for us in terms of the kind of food that helps in practice of meditation?
Very well put, Ashokji. In fact, I have, initially as you're younger, you don't pay much attention to, too much to a lifestyle or even food habits and things. You're just grabbing whatever it is. And life is so fast paced that sometimes you don't pay attention too much. Whatever comes your way, you eat it and you're done with it. But as you mature, you grow older, you realize that the benefits that you can get from a lifestyle with your food and your habits is going to be, you can reap real good results with that. Because lately, actually, I have been following pretty much a good, healthy lifestyle. And I've seen changes in my own life, which have brought about because of the steps that I took. I've started eating more healthy foods. I'm conscious of what I eat, how much I eat.
What is healthy food?
Healthy foods are, non-processed foods, eating whole foods, whole grains. And, I think we've become so, the whole world has become so dependent on ready-made food.
Yes.
And any ready-made food that you got, not all, but majority of the food, it has to be processed so that it can last longer on a shelf. I mean, that's pure science. But we as humans don't think. We think of the convenience. And it's easy. It's all done for you. You just pick it up, grab it, eat it, and you're done with it. And they have done so much research that whatever the product that they've come is the scientists behind that, because they have to make a sale. And they make it in such a way that if you take one bite, you will continue eating. You're not going to stop at just one. And that's how they've designed it. So we have to be as aware of it that this is actually harmful to us. And if we want to live a better, healthy, longer life and enjoy more, then we have to, work at it and be more conscious of what we put in our mouths. And it has make a big difference to me. When you reach a certain age, like at 50s, and the doctors start saying, okay, now you have to be careful with this, you have all these exams, and then maybe some medications are added as a precaution. And I'm glad to tell you this, at this age, I have able to actually shed most of my medications because I have changed my lifestyle.
I'm so glad to hear that. I wish that to happen for many of us. So we have to pay attention to what we eat. And
Absolutely.
as we have just a few minutes left for this very meaningful and inspiring conversation.
Ashok, would you let me add something right here,
Sure.
interjected, because
Sure.
it's very
Go ahead,
admiring and appreciative for
Yeah.
her, that you would not believe that at this age and this age in life for everyone, she's been able to get rid of her medicine for diabetes.
Wow.
Just with the lifestyle. And the doctors, her primary care physicians are asking her, what have you been doing? Obviously, if you need something, you have to take it. I mean, we are not professionals in life sciences and all that, but if you don't need a medicine, you don't have to take it. And she has done not only tremendous job on herself in that, or dutiful job, but even for the family, for our family, for our two children, our myself and everybody who visits us, they see our garden and get inspired. That how much time, how much work it takes, how much patience does it take. I am not that patient a person for gardening. Everybody
so
has
actually, I would also not claim to be patient, and sometimes I become impatient because I hear that the time is running out, so I have to conclude. But where we are concluding is a beginning, a new beginning for
Right.
us to embrace life with this approach, which is wholesome, staying tuned to our stillness and developing a healthy lifestyle. And finding people like Ashok Wahi and Neelu ji, if not in your neighborhood, at least on social media, or or searching for them in yourself, because we all want to be the best that we can,
Right.
and that is where meditation is a big help in taking us to the right action. So it was right for both of you to come, and that was a great action. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanking this wonderful couple and wishing them a healthy and joyful life, as well as the same to all of you. This is Ashok Vyas. Namaste.